Hey to all the spooks out there. Welcome back for another episode of Spine Chilling Chats, where we dig up the darkest corners of true crime, history, folklore, and the supernatural to give you a reason to leave the lights on tonight. I'm Ange.
And I'm Amanda.
If this is your first time listening, welcome. We're so thankful that you're giving us a chance. If this isn't your first time, welcome back. We appreciate each and every one of you.
Yes.
With Valentine's Day this Friday, love is in the air. But for some, online dating can lead to something far more sinister. Between 2014 and 2015, Stephen Port used Grindr and other dating apps to lure young men into his deadly web. Beneath his quiet demeanor lay a predator who drugged, assaulted, and murdered his victims, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak and unanswered questions. But how did he evade capture for so long? And could the justice system have stopped him sooner? We're going to discuss all that now. Really quickly, I want to give a trigger warning that this episode discusses sexual assault, drugging, and murder. So take care while listening.
Okay, can I just say,
Yes.
We're recording on a Sunday. And it's Super Bowl. And yes, I know the Bears are not in the Super Bowl, but I'm sporting my Bears because I'm not a bandwagon jumper, And look how freaking cute this is.
I got a witchy one.
And I got the Wednesday one. Ange bought these for us. How freaking cute. And I forgot my toppers at home.
Got a little mushroom.
And since it is Valentine's, we did our nails. So cute. So we're just all kinds of festive.
Yep. We're sporting it today.
We're trying. We're trying to be girly. It's
hard.
Yeah. I mean, I got my nails done. I do have makeup on. My hair's cute. Mike said this was his least favorite hairstyle.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. He said I look like some washed up Star Wars character. I was like, okay.
At least you do something with your hair. I don't do anything.
But I also got my sports on because I'm a sports girl. So
I am not a sports girl. I couldn't care less.
Yeah. So
not my cup of tea.
So yeah, just wanted to throw those things out there real quick. So I thought they were cute. They needed some attention.
Yeah. All right. Now on to the dark. On February 22nd, 1975.
Wait.
What?
And it's my birthday on Saturday. So,
yes.
Happy birthday to me.
Yes.
That's all. Day after Valentine's Day, I get 50% off candy. And it gets grouped into one.
Not anymore. Now that you got a good boyfriend.
I know. He already gave me my gifts.
Yeah, you told me.
So. And we're going to dinner.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay, that's all.
On February 22nd, 1975, in Southend-on-Sea, Essex, Stephen Port was born. His family moved to Dagenham, East London, when he was around a year old, and he grew up there. Sources state that his parents actually still live there today. I don't know if that's true. I didn't Google them, which I imagine that would be difficult, living somewhere and having all of your neighbors know what your son did.
Yeah. If that were me and my son did something like that, I'm moving.
Yeah, like the shame of it. I changed my name too. So Stephen was bullied at school and pretty much just stuck to himself. His former teacher said that he was quiet, but maybe if he wasn't getting bullied all the time, he would have had more confidence and would have been a little bit more outgoing. I always feel so bad during the origin stories. It just makes you wonder if they had been treated differently, would their life maybe have gone down a different path? And I know that there are plenty of children out there who were bullied, had shitty parents, had the whole world give up on them, and still don't turn out to be serial killers. But I'm just saying that maybe for those kids who did, it might have been different if they had had someone who gave a damn about them.
Yeah, I agree. Because I feel like sometimes, your nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Like if you would have been treated like a human being, maybe you would not have had those thoughts that took over your mind and made you want to do these things.
Yeah, because they just festers in your head.
Yeah. And you're like, well, if I'm not good enough, then I'm going to show them I'm not good enough. that type of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that Stephen's parents were bad. I didn't
No.
see any report of them abusing, neglecting, or being anything other than wonderful parents to Stephen.
It's
But,
just the other,
like the
his
bullies.
peers. Yeah.
So Stephen's dad worked as a cleaner for the Barking and Dagenham Council, and his mom was a cashier at the local supermarket. He graduated secondary education at the age of 16, which at first I was so confused by. I thought he was a genius or something, because here in America, we are typically 18 when we finish high school.
Mm-hmm.
But in the UK, they finish their equivalent to high school at 16. Stephen went on to art college, but his parents couldn't afford the tuition. So Stephen then spent the next 2 years training as a chef instead, which is kind of weird because my last guy, he was a chef too. Like he went to art school and then he switched to being a chef.
Who was it?
Crap, I already forgot his name.
I know, I do that all the time. All right. But yeah.
Yeah. In his mid-20s, Stephen came out as gay. He continued living with his parents until he was in his early 30s. He got his own flat in Barking, London in 2006. There, he worked as a chef at a stagecoach bus depot in West Ham. He even appeared on the TV show MasterChef in 2014.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was pretty good at cooking, He had a lot going for him. Stephen's neighbors said that he had a peculiar childlike personality. He would do odd things like play with kids' toys. But honestly, what man doesn't play with some sort of toy well into adulthood? Robbie still plays with Legos. He likes remote control cars. He likes video games. Isn't that the same thing? Fuck, I really enjoy messing with Aurora's slime and putting her dollhouse back together when everything goes like in the same, put it back together so it's perfect.
I just put together Caitlin's Legos.
Yeah. See, like sometimes
and they were Minecraft Legos.
Sometimes it's fun to, do that.
Yeah.
Play around. Although he was already in his 30s when he moved out of his parents' home, he still went buck wild, hosting drug-fueled parties where he would entertain boyish-looking men along with actual teenagers who were just barely over the age of consent at 16 or 17 years old, and he would take them as lovers. One such lover described Stephen's personality as being childish. That was also the reason that their relationship ended. Stephen had an athletic look to him from working out in the gym regularly. He was also bald, but hid it in public with a blonde toupee.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
It was a nice one, though, that was professionally installed, and it helped to boost his confidence when meeting other men. He often used hookup apps like Grindr to meet men and lure them to his flat. Ryan Edwards, who lived across the hallway from Stephen, noticed the age of the men. What? Yeah, he's not attractive.
No.
He's not attractive.
Sorry, I had to look it up.
Yeah. I'll put a picture in here so you guys can see in the video.
Wow.
But yeah, he's not a looker, that's for sure. But he would use hookup apps like Grindr to meet men and lure them to his flat. Ryan Edwards lived across the hallway from Stephen, noticed the age of the men hanging around his flat. Ryan lived across from Stephen for 3 years and struck up a platonic friendship with him, as they were both members of the LGBTQ plus community there in Barking. Which, Barking, that's a weird name for a town.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But then you look at it as it's kind of fitting for them because I don't mean this in a bad way or anything, but like when you look at gay people, like you're a silver fox, you're a bear, you're this, you're that. Like they use animal names. So Barking is kind of cool.
Oh. I don't think that's...
No, it's not, but I just think it's cool.
Yeah, because there's more than just a gay community there.
Yeah. But that they live in
there.
Barking is kind of cool.
Stephen would often invite Ryan over to meet his new boyfriend after new boyfriend after new boyfriend. Ryan would tell London World, quote, "I had a boyfriend once who was 29, and I remember Stephen screwing his face up in disgust and saying, 'Far too old.' He said he would never dream of dating someone over the age of 23. He would have been in his late 30s by that point. It was a very arbitrary and very young cutoff point." Stephen often lied on his dating profiles, making outlandish claims to have graduated from Oxford University, having served in the Royal Navy, or being a special needs teacher. His first victim was 23-year-old, quiet introvert Anthony Walgate. He was a fashion student who occasionally worked at an escort service called Sleepy Boys, which that's a name. On June 17th, 2014, I wrote 2914. In 2014, Stephen contacted Anthony pretending to be a potential client, offering him £800 for him to stay the night at his flat. Anthony was very leery of this and made sure to give his good friend Ellie Green the information, quote, "in case I get killed." Talk about foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
Once Anthony arrived at Stephen's flat, Stephen drugged him with GHB. That's gamma hydroxybutyric acid. Gamma hydroxybutyric acid, which is a date rape drug. After Stephen finished raping him, he administered a fatal dose of GHB. Although this was Stephen's first murder, it wasn't his first go with GHB. In 2012, while he was a high school student, there was a gentleman that met Stephen on Grindr. They went back to his apartment in Barking. Stephen handed him a glass of wine, and the young victim stated it tasted harsh, and it had a sludge of some sort at the bottom of the glass. The sludge ended up being GHB. Once he passed out from the drug, Stephen raped him. During the act, he briefly regained consciousness before passing back out. In the morning, when he eventually came to, Stephen acted as though nothing had happened that night before. Luckily, the young man escaped with his life. Unfortunately, Anthony Walgate did not. The day after Stephen administered the fatal dose, he placed Anthony's body outside of the flat, and at 4:00 a.m., he made an anonymous call to 999, which is the UK's version of 911. He stated a young boy had passed out on Cook Street in Barking, East London. When the police and EMTs arrived, they found Anthony Walgate dead and leaning against the wall outside of Stephen's house. Shortly before 8 o'clock in the morning, Anthony was pronounced dead. Even though Stephen had tried to remain anonymous, he was soon identified as the caller and was interviewed by police. He told the police that he had found Anthony slumped against the wall when he had returned home from working at the bus depot canteen. He stated that he attempted to wake him up before ultimately calling 999. They would then find out that Stephen himself had hired Anthony as an escort. A week after his death, they interviewed Stephen again. He eventually admitted that he had hired Anthony as an escort, but that Anthony had shown up with the drugs. But after staying the night together, Stephen left him in bed, and when he returned home, he found Anthony unconscious and panicked. He claimed that he dragged his body onto the street, afraid that he would be accused of a crime. The police took Stephen's laptop, but neglected to submit it to forensics for 10 months. Consequently, allowing them to miss the numerous web searches for X-rated drug rape videos, along with raping and drugging boys. It was later found that Anthony had the date rape drug GHB in his system at the time of his death. Sadly, this wouldn't be the last time the police would drop the ball on this and the other investigations that would soon follow. An example would be the fact that Anthony's cell phone was missing and that this fashion-conscious student died with his underwear being inside out, and they were on backwards as well.
Okay. I understand, like, you're panicking. Maybe he's panicking. Maybe he's making this up, whatever. But you just raped and killed somebody and you're redressing them. They're already in your house. Nobody knows. Take your time and do it right. Why are they inside out and backwards?
Yeah, right.
Like, you have plenty of time to put them back on correctly.
But then again, they might have been thinking, oh, it was a hookup. And, you know, the walk of shame, you just kind of quickly put your shit on and you know, leave.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Anyway.
But the police still described these facts as unusual, not necessarily suspicious or sinister. Or that Anthony had 14 individual grazes and bruises on the inside of his upper arms. And the police again concluded that there wasn't any evidence suggesting that he had been assaulted. The local police were way over their head. Their team made up of inexperienced officers. They requested several times for the Metropolitan Police expert murder investigation team to take over the case, but their requests were rejected over and over again. Two of Anthony's friends told the officers that his death was strange, but were blown off by police who believed that this was just a case of another gay sex worker who overdosed on drugs. Which unfortunately,
Which is sad.
That's the reality of some people's mindsets.
Yeah. It's still
but
sad.
You would think
like,
in 2014, like,
it's not like it was back in the 80s.
Yeah, you would think that it would be a lot less, but I guess some places are still very narrow-minded. In June of 2014, once the police realized Stephen lied about what had happened, they charged him with perverting the course of justice by making his false statements. He was released on bail pending his court appearance. While this fucker was out on bail, he would commit more murders, which is so very frustrating. They literally had him in jail. His other victims needn't to have died. Like,
well, and if he's in jail for suspicion of murder and all that.
It's not that they're suspicious of him. It's because he lied and said that he didn't know, but then they found out that he had hired him as an escort.
Okay, so they're not suspicious that he killed him.
No, just that he lied about finding him.
Okay,
how he found him. 2 months after the death of Anthony, Stephen found his next victim in 22-year-old Gabriel Kavari. Gabriel, who was originally from Slovakia, had just relocated to the UK in hopes to land a job as a translator for the National Health Service after getting his degree in his home country. He began chatting with Stephen online and had mentioned he needed a place to stay. So Stephen offered Gabriel his couch to sleep on rent-free until he got acclimated to the city. Gabriel gladly accepted and moved into Stephen's flat on August 23, 2014. Just 5 days later, on August 28, 2014, a dog walker named Barbara Denham was walking through the graveyard at St. Margaret's Church and discovered the dead body of a young man slumped against a wall wearing sunglasses and sitting next to a bag full of his belongings. The body was badly beaten with his stomach exposed. The body was that of Gabriel Kavari. Even though his body was found just a few blocks away from Stephen's flat, the police didn't think it had any relation to the death of Anthony just 2 months prior, so Stephen was never even questioned. In fact, they didn't find anything suspicious about Gabriel's death, so a forensic post-mortem investigation of Gabriel's remains was never performed. The Sun reported, quote, "Police did not follow up leads to trace Gabriel's friend Carl Camden.
I have no idea. Looks right to me.
Camden. who Gabriel had sent pictures to from inside Stephen's flat when he arrived there, and was the last person he spoke to. John Pape, who was also Gabriel's friend, decided to do some detective work to find the victim's boyfriend in Spain, Thierry Amadio, who had been contacted by Stephen pretending to be another man. Both men supplied the police with information which would have led them to the serial killer, but later in court they claimed they were repeatedly ignored, and it was also revealed how a family liaison officer assigned to the Gabriel case even failed to contact the victim's loved ones at all, and even referred to him as being from Lithuania instead of his actual home country of Slovakia. So not a very good liaison if you don't even know where your client do you consider that a client?
I don't know. I was just thinking
because he's not
a client.
Past,
but anyway, from your person,
your case.
Yeah.
Again, not really caring about the death of a young gay man. Only 3 weeks later, on September 20th, 2014, that very same dog walker had the unfortunate luck of discovering yet another dead body in almost the same exact location.
Okay. I would totally stop going that way.
Yeah, if I were her, I would change my dog walking route.
Yeah, for real.
The body was that of 21-year-old chef Daniel Whitworth. He was originally from Gravesend, Kent, and met Stephen through the Fit Lads website. Some of these names of
I know
Fit Lads, Sleepy Boys. Like, come on.
Fit Lads.
Come on. That's a social network in the UK for gay and bi men. He did, however, share a house with his long-term boyfriend, Ricky Walmsley. So I don't know if maybe that site is more to just be a part of the gay and bi community in the area and not necessarily to hook up or date. He was reported missing when he failed to turn up for work the next day. Meanwhile, Stephen deleted his Fit Lads account. Stephen reportedly used numerous different apps and websites to find his victims, including Sleepy Boys, Grindr, Hornet, Fit Lads, Badoo, Gaydar, Flirt, Daddy Hunt, Planet Romeo, Manhunt, Slave Boys, and Couchsurfing.
Oh.
Proving further what a despicable, wretched man Stephen was, he even attempted to pin the murder of Gabriel on Daniel. He wrote a fake suicide note and placed it on Daniel's body to make it look as though Daniel had accidentally killed Gabriel. The letter stated that Daniel had purposely OD'd on GHB out of guilt for accidentally causing Gabriel's death, but giving him a fatal drug dose during sex. And then, stupidly, Stephen added in the fake suicide note, and this is a quote, BTW, which means, by the way, for our older listeners, please do not blame the guy I was with last night. We only had sex, and then I left. He knows nothing of what I have done.
Oh, my God.
Quote. Like, how stupid. Come on, Stephen. That doesn't sound suspicious at all.
No, like, I'm not guilty at all.
Like...
Jesus.
And once again, the police just took the easy way out, accepting the suicide note as truth, even though there was no evidence to suggest that Daniel and Gabriel had ever met, let alone had ever communicated with one another. Even with Stephen's very stupid mention of there being another man the night of Daniel's death, the police didn't even attempt to locate that man, nor did they attempt to verify that Daniel even wrote the note by having it examined by a handwriting expert. They wouldn't even let Ricky, who's Daniel's boyfriend, to view the note, as they did not consider Ricky as next of kin.
Okay. Also, he said in the note, please don't blame the guy I was with. We just had sex, and then I left. Yeah, like you just made yourself look guilty, but also they can run DNA. It's 2014.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's banking on them not, but I guess I don't know.
But like that just tells them like you're guilty. I don't blame the guy last night. Okay, you had sex with Gabriel what, a week, 3 weeks
3
prior?
weeks prior. Yeah.
They feel like you're connected to that in a way that you lied. And now this guy's dead and you put in there, don't blame the guy last night. Like, hello, guilty much?
Well, Gabriel, they didn't connect him with.
I thought they
it was
connected
Anthony.
With oh, yeah. Okay.
It was the first guy that was outside his house.
Okay.
They didn't even
but
look
still,
into Gabriel.
They have DNA. They can run the DNA and know, like.
But if he's never been arrested for anything.
Yeah.
Yet.
That's true, too.
You might not have DNA on record. If that wasn't enough, the police also failed to conduct necessary forensic examinations on several items found at the scene, including the bedsheet on which Daniel was found, his clothes, and the narcotics container planted on him. All these items would later be found to have Stephen's DNA and fingerprints on them. And finally, in the last show of incompetence the police showed in this murder, they failed to get the records from Daniel's phone during the relevant time period around Gabriel's death. This would have shown them that Daniel was nowhere near Barking on the night of Gabriel's death, which would have contradicted the supposed suicide note. Like, if he wasn't even near where Gabriel was, then how could he have possibly killed him?
Right.
The murders would come to a brief stop in March of 2015 when Stephen was placed in jail for obstructing the administration of justice in the Anthony Walgate case. But he was released by June the same year. So now they got his DNA.
Yeah.
Just a couple months after being released from jail, Stephen would kill his last victim. On September 13th, 2015, in the early hours of the morning, Stephen started talking to a 25-year-old man on Grindr named Jack Taylor. They decided to meet at the Barking train station just before 3 o'clock a.m. And you know what? Nothing good is going to come up with meeting somebody at 3 a.m.
Mike always says nothing good happens after dark.
Yeah, like, you have no reason to be out. But trying to get a booty call here.
And then look where it leads ya.
Look where it leads ya. Just stay home, folks.
Yeah, it ain't
Be
that
home
important.
buddies. That's what I do.
Me too.
I'm still alive.
Me too.
Then they headed back to Stephen's flat, where once inside, Jack would be drugged, raped, and murdered by Stephen. The next day, Jack's body was discovered in the same church graveyard as the previous two victims, but luckily not by that poor dog walker.
Oh, thank
Maybe
God.
she did decide to change her route. Jack's body had a needle mark on his right arm, an unused syringe, tourniquet, and a small vial of GHB were all found on his person. And surprise, surprise, the police stated that they did not feel there was anything suspicious about Jack's death and believed he was just another gay junkie who took too much and OD'd in the exact same spot as two other people in the last few months.
With the exact same drug. Like, I'm not saying this is okay, but where are the heroin users and where are the meth users?
But they didn't even test for drugs on the other two. They just
but they
took it as face value, you know?
Didn't they say like he overdosed? They said that he overdosed.
Well, I think it's just because he like planted. I don't know.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, so they all just happened to be in the same spot.
Yeah.
And
all OD'd
and all gay with the same drug. Mm-hmm. Like, no, not all drug users use the same drug and happen to die the same exact fucking way. That's
in
bullshit.
The same exact fucking place.
That's
like,
bullshit.
Come on.
Now you got to know this is suspicious.
Yeah, this is just
1 and 2. Okay, I'll get it. I get it. But 3, suspicious for sure. 100% suspicious.
Yeah, they didn't care.
No,
they didn't care. They just thought of it as taking out the trash themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack's family wasn't accepting that shit, which good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Jack didn't do drugs as he was a forklift operator for a warehouse that stored expensive champagne bottles. They would routinely be drug tested there. Not to mention, Jack was hoping to become part of law enforcement and adamantly opposed the use of illegal drugs. So the idea of Jack dying from an overdose was just preposterous. Jack's sisters, Jenny and Donna, decided to do their own investigation. They pieced together the final hours of Jack's life, which in turn led them to see the parallels between the deaths of the 4 young gay men, the links to GHB, and all being located near the same area. The police blew the sisters off, stating that there was, quote, no reason to suspect they are connected, end quote. One day, while the sisters were at the police station, they were informed that there was CCTV footage of Jack walking with a tall blonde man in the hours leading up to his death. They begged the police to publish the image in the newspaper to see if the man could be identified. According to Donna, the police didn't take to that idea as they didn't find Jack's death suspicious. But with mounting pressure, they eventually did release the image on October 13th, 2015. The detective working on the Anthony Walgate investigation saw the CCTV image of Jack and the unknown man and recognized him as Stephen Port, who they had previously interviewed. On October 15th, Stephen was taken into custody under suspicion of causing the deaths of all 4 men. His killing streak that lasted 16 months was over. He went to trial in November of 2016, appearing via video link from HM Prison, Belmarsh, and denied all charges. He was found guilty of the sexual assaults, rapes, and murders of Anthony Walgate, Gabriel Cavari, Daniel Whitworth, and Jack Taylor. He was also found guilty of the rapes of 3 men that had been drugged, 10 counts of intentionally administering a substance to another person, and 4 sexual assaults. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In total, 11 men were known victims of Stephen in some form. So whether it be rape, murder, drugging.
Yeah.
The police have rightfully faced so much criticism for the execution of,
As they should,
of these homicides, which the victims all being young gay men who didn't have ties to the area, 3 of which being dumped in the same freaking graveyard, and the other just a couple blocks away. The negligence of the police is just mind-boggling. In August 2018, it was revealed he had lodged an appeal against his murder convictions. In November of 2018, it was announced that his appeal had been rejected. In 2019, the Independent Office of Police Conduct, the IOPC, the police watchdog, concluded that no officers had a case to answer for misconduct or gross misconduct concerning the failure to apprehend Stephen Port until after his 4th murder. And in 2019, Gerald Matavu,
that's what I would say,
Matavu, who was known to have supplied Stephen with the GHB used in the killings, was arrested and later convicted of the murder of actor and businessman Eric Michaels. He was also sentenced to life imprisonment, but with a minimum term of 31 years. He used a similar method as Stephen by targeting Eric on Grindr and giving him a fatal dose of GHB. In August of 2020, in a Brazilian chat show program, Que Historia Essa Porchat?
That's what I would say.
Hosted by Fabio Porchat, an audience member named Raphael told his story of dating Stephen. Raphael had moved to London in 2012 at 19 years old and had been working as a waiter when he met Stephen on one of those dating websites. After they started dating, Raphael moved into Stephen's apartment where they lived together for a little longer than a month. After they broke up, Raphael moved back to Brazil where he got a different job and started another relationship. One day, he decided to search for Stephen's name online and then found about the murders through an article on BBC. Raphael said he first read the words documentary, Stephen Port, and serial killer and was interested since he thought Stephen had made a documentary on a serial killer.
Oh, shit.
until he read it and realized what it was actually about. After he discovered the truth about Stephen, Raphael said that looking back, there were a lot of strange things going on. Another former partner of Stephen's also claimed to have broken up with him due to his unusual behavior. In December of 2021, an inquest jury concluded that the mistakes made by the police during the investigation into the death of Anthony Walgate probably contributed to the deaths of the later 3 victims. In June of 2022, the IOPC stated that they would reinvestigate the Metropolitan Police's original handling of the murders. IOPC Regional Director Steve Noonan said, quote, "We recognize it has taken some time to reach this stage, but these are complex matters involving multiple officers and 4 investigations into unexplained deaths and then the subsequent murder investigation into Port." End quote. He also then said, quote, "Though we have found an indication that the behavior of these 8 individuals may have amounted to gross misconduct, this does not necessarily mean disciplinary proceedings will automatically follow. Based on the evidence at the conclusion of our investigation, we will decide whether any officers should face disciplinary proceedings." End quote.
They all should.
Yeah. Like, you fucked up. You fucked up.
Yeah.
You caused 3 other people to lose their lives.
Yep.
And ruined the lives of countless others, family
Because
members
you
and loved
thought it
ones.
was just some gay druggie that
Yeah,
OD'd.
who cares?
And that their lives didn't matter.
Sisters of Jack Taylor, Donna and Jenny, said in a statement, quote, "The news today made us feel grateful that someone is finally taking this serious and that our Jack and also Anthony, Gabriel, Daniel, and the living victims are now finally being treated as human beings instead of just numbers, which would have happened from the start. We sat through 8 weeks of the trial and 8 weeks of the inquest. Every single day, we listened to every piece of evidence. We know that Jack would still be here if the officers had done their jobs properly. We live this nightmare every day, and we will do so for the rest of our lives. Whilst we have been told that this may have amounted to gross misconduct, this does not necessarily mean disciplinary actions will take place. We hope this is the case and people are held accountable for letting people lose their lives." End quote. As of November 2023, IOPC was investigating 8 former and current police officers for the gross misconduct regarding the cases. But I didn't see any other updates as to what's come of it, or if anything.
Well, good. And hopefully something will come of it. Hopefully they will get what they deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is bullshit. Like, how are you going to let somebody who you, in the first place, lied, second one, little suspicious, like they were a little suspicious of him, right? And
the second one they didn't link to him at all. It was Gabriel.
Okay. It was Gabriel.
Yep, he was just another gay man in the...
Okay, but the third one...
And then Daniel, he's the one that wrote the suicide note, supposedly, and claimed that he did it because he killed Gabriel.
Right. So, like, there are just so many clues and so many things that are clear as day. And I'm not a detective and I'm not a police officer. I just like true crime and I do that stuff. But, like, it's common sense to me that you would check those things.
You see a dead body, you investigate. You don't
just say, oh, well,
I see needles, so
it's an OD. No, they have to know this day and age, even in 2014, 2015, whatever, that people try to cover up crimes.
Yeah.
Like, do investigations.
And 3 in the same fucking graveyard.
Right.
Like, unless you're finding dead bodies there every other day, like,
yeah.
Come on, guys, get it together.
Right. It's the first one I guess I could see. The first one I could see, okay, there's a dead body in the graveyard. But the second one in the same spot, in the same graveyard, in the same manner, that warrants some suspicion. Even the third one is definitely 100% suspicious. Like, do something.
Yeah. By the fourth, you're just
an idiot.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You're fucking idiots.
You're purposely not trying.
Right.
Purposely.
You're assholes.
Yeah.
Pieces of shit.
But that was Stephen Port, the Grindr Killer.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Right.
Be careful who you meet online.
Yes, I was just going to say, hopefully we didn't scare you away, because there are some really awesome relationships that have come from social media, from dating sites. Yeah. Don't get us wrong, but
just be careful.
Proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Do your research. Let people know where you're at,
who you're meeting,
your location. Send them a picture. Send them where you're going.
Yep.
The name. Even if it's a fake name, they have some kind of name that could be affiliated with them somehow.
If they're taking you to their house, text their address to a friend, to a family member, so they have a name and an address.
But don't go to their house at all. And if you go on a first date, don't let them pick you up and know where you live. Meet them there.
Yeah. Just be safe, guys.
Yeah.
If you have any true crime or serial killer cases you would like us to cover, please send them in, along with any glitches in the Matrix, any ghost stories you have, any fairy fucking you're doing on this Valentine's Day.
Just anything, you guys. We'll cover anything.
Send that in to spinechillingchatspodcast@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. You can also go to our website, which is www.spine-chillingchatspodcast.com. You can submit them there as well. Also, you can check out our bio, pictures. You can check out other episodes and
find us on
our merch shops.
Our merch shop. Yes, buy some merch, guys. By the way, I know we said this in the beginning, but these we bought from Juggy.
Yeah.
Well, Ange bought from Juggy.
Juggy. Yep.
Just give them a shout out. They're decent.
Yeah, they feel heavy.
They hold 2 bottles of water with
40
half
ounces.
Ice.
40 ounces they hold.
And
without the straw, you close it and it's leak proof.
Yeah. So Juggy, giving them a shout out. No, we're not endorsed by them or anything. But
#, not a sponsor.
Yeah,
but we'd like to. We'd like to work with you, Juggy.
We love cups. But anyway,
I have so many cups.
Me too.
I
have these 40 ounce, and it has Rainbow Bright, 2 of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just love cups. But find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok while it lasts, YouTube.
Yep.
And
if you're listening to this, we have video on YouTube.
Yes.
So
Spotify,
you can watch us.
Apple Pie. Are we on Apple Podcasts?
We're on Apple. We're on
all of it.
If you're
all the things,
wherever but I guess they found us somehow if they're listening to this.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you
good
can
job.
Find us on other platforms.
Good job.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks for finding us.
Yes. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed. We hope you come back, and most of all, we hope you keep it spooky. Bye, guys.
Bye.